the morning, the post-truth apocalypse. I'm Ben, and this week I'm hanging out with Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk about, Madman.
Madman Mike Marcum.
That's it. Madman Mike Marcum.
Bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
It is.
I don't know, I haven't met him.
No one ever will.
Because he could be floating through the space-time continuum as we speak.
Or he could be a frozen corpse
In
orbiting
space.
the Earth.
Yes, yeah, he could have. Yes, we'll get into that later, but there's a good chance he could have materialised in space.
Yes.
We should explain, what did he do?
Well, he invented a backyard time machine.
Yep.
Basically.
He didn't just invent one, he built one.
He built one.
And allegedly used it.
Yeah. It's an amazing story.
It is great.
Yeah.
I love backyard inventions.
Oh yes, I love it when lowbrow hillbilly type people are really fucking clever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And can do mad shit like this. Love
It's
it.
rare as rocking or shit.
Well,
it?
yeah, but you know, I like a bit of redneck science. I don't even know if he's a redneck, but you know what I mean. He looked like a metalhead, not a redneck, didn't he, in his picture? But
He did. Anyway, yeah, maybe he.
That should be a thing. Redneck science.
That could be a
I
show.
think, I think it already might be a thing.
Like a
on YouTube.
Mythbusters, but
They just make
rednecks.
drugs, flamethrowers.
Well, let's thank some new and returning listeners, and then we'll get into it. So where shall I start? Ashburn in the US, Vitry-sur-Seine in France. The Paris Olympic episode must have got us a French listener.
Hey.
Whitstable in the UK, Frankfurt am Main in Germany, Telford in the UK, Preenville in the US, Västerås in Sweden, Falkenstein in Germany, Madrid in Spain, Brussels in Belgium, Boardman in the US.
And overall, by country, the United States has stormed back to the top of the charts.
Oh, they're like the world's podcasting superpower.
They love us.
Listening superpower.
Again, I say it every week. I gobsmack they can understand a single word we fucking say.
Especially after a few beers.
Thank you, listeners.
Well, let's go back to the 90s, when times were good.
The last great decade.
You're right, the last great decade.
95, what good albums came out in 95? Green Day, Insomniac.
Oasis were at the peak of their powers.
Oasis, yeah.
And 94 was Wonderwall.
Smash was 93, I think, so it's probably Ixnay on the Hombre. On the Ombre. Yeah, music was good in 95. Not the pop charts. Obviously, that was still an abhorrent mess.
Yeah.
But, you know, the music videos were good.
Times were good. We had Sega Master System, Sega Mega Drives.
Yeah.
We had Oasis and Blur.
Yeah.
They're pretty decent for mainstream music.
There was some good stuff happening. 95, I think, might have been like a Sega Saturn by then. Possibly
Maybe.
the first PlayStation. But my point is, times were good.
They were. They certainly were. And in early 1995, Madman Marcum attempted to construct a time machine on the porch of his house.
On his porch?
In Stanberry, Missouri.
Yeah.
In the United States, he started working on a contraption called the Jacob's Ladder.
So should we explain? I don't understand the science of it, but to picture it, Jacob's Ladder's like where you've got two antennae.
Pretty much,
you charge the ion and the something, and then
That's right.
the electric jumps like a ladder, like what are the middle bits of a ladder called?
Rungs.
The rungs of a ladder. The electric runs between these two rods, and it looks cool as fuck.
It climbs up and down.
Yeah, and it's something that people who understand electrics can do just to show off, really, isn't it?
Pretty much. I mean, dude looks like a ginger metalhead.
Yeah.
It's also from the Bible, Jacob's Ladder, isn't it?
It's definitely a term that means something.
It's a brilliant film as well. Have you seen it?
Is that the one where it's the Vietnam veteran?
Yeah.
He was having a mad ass flash. Well, they're not hallucinations.
Brilliant film.
So the Jacob's Ladder reduces air resistance between two poles by using a modified compact disc laser. The result will be a continuous arc.
Well,
that's what it's going to be, isn't it? It's going to be salvaged stuff from, like compact disc laser.
Oh, this guy's... Sorry, go on, guys.
He used, like, coat hangers, literally, didn't he?
This dude's garden was, like, every electrical appliance you can think of with the good bits ripped out.
Yeah, the copper and stuff ripped out. But just before we forget, in biblical terms, Jacob's Ladder is a ladder that reaches from earth to heaven and appears in a dream to the biblical patriarch Jacob in Genesis 28:11-19.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
Where is it now?
Where is it now?
Where is it now?
Well, in his dream.
By the ice wall.
Ah, right, okay. No, it all makes sense.
Then you get to the top. Climb Jacob's ladder.
To heaven. And then you'll be in heaven.
You'll be in the firmament, wouldn't you?
Well, it's not flat though, is it?
Is it not?
No.
Damn it, Mike, you're the science officer.
They've got to be the flat earth people.
Who's been infiltrated and compromised.
Have you been MK Ultra by the Flat Earth Society?
I'm a flat earth shill now.
They're the thickest people on earth, aren't they? If an aeroplane's going along, it should have to dip the nose every now and then to meet with the curvature. You just don't understand how big the planet is, you thick bastard.
That's what it boils down
Don't
to,
understand
doesn't it?
physics.
Jesus fuck. Sorry, I digress. I'm sure there's a helpline you can ring, Mike.
Yeah.
I confounded one by saying even like artillery and snipers have to match the curvature of the earth, otherwise they'd never hit anything. So how do you explain that every single artilleryman has known the earth is round and has had to calculate with mathematics roughly where his shells are going to land?
Yeah.
No, and people have been pretty successful with artillery, haven't they, over the years?
Famously so.
And, you know...
Yeah, it's definitely round.
The best one is when you can see the curvature of the earth from space.
Oh, yeah.
Fisheye lens.
Yeah, it's literally photos. You've literally seen photos taken from things. No.
Not enough fisheye lens.
Fake news.
Where's the turtles? The elephants stood on them. Where are they?
Who knows?
Well, when he turned on this Jacob's ladder, which is 2 poles using a... I love the fact he's using the laser from a CD player.
Yeah. Well, we'll explain why he uses that in a second.
Yeah. The result was a continuous arc, and when he turned on the device, he saw something unusual. There was a heat mark, similar to what you'd see on hot pavement, except it was in the shape of a vortex and was circular. So Doctor Strange kind of tunnel.
Yeah, so like you know what he means, like when the road in the distance is extremely hot and you can see the heat.
Yeah.
Like that's what he could kind of see, but in a circle. And he was using. Oh, I don't want to get too far out, but like he was using the lasers because it helped. Because the air's got to be dry for it to work, hasn't it, or something?
Yeah, and it vaporised.
In case you haven't noticed, listener, I'm not an electrician or even a remotely intelligent person, so I'm fumbling through this. But yeah, he took apart a load of CD players and pointed the lasers at it to help it along so it would work properly.
That's pretty cool, though. It's a genius little solution.
That's the thing is, the guy does actually understand electronics. Like,
yeah.
He's not like
Well, he was at college, wasn't he? He's got 2 years of college in.
Yeah.
But there was this heat mark, so he decided to test the effect by throwing a metal screw through the vortex to see what would happen. And according to him, it vanished for half of a second before reappearing a few feet away a second later.
Ooh.
That's kind of crazy, though, isn't it? Because he throws it in, why is it at the floor, and then ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. And it's not like it came out the other side exactly where he threw it. It's like it's moved over to the right, which is important. Of all the tests he did, Mike, it only ever went to the east or the west. Never moved vertically, or apparently that's to do with the magnetic field and the movement of the earth.
I know it was 95, but we had camcorders and stuff. Why didn't he film it?
He might not have had one. He had to. Well, we don't get ahead, but he had to steal some of his equipment. I don't know how. Camcorder in '95 wasn't cheap, was it?
When he gets this right, allegedly gets this right.
Yeah, there is a video, isn't there?
But all the stuff, all the notes, all the machinery, everything was taken away, and he has no idea where it went.
It's all missing. I listened to the interview with him. Callers were ringing in and questioning him on his story because there is holes in his story. It's not a perfect story, but he got vague explanations. But we'll get to that later.
Has anybody ever tried replicating this?
Well, I don't know. Not that I know of. Problem is, you need to. So this little one that he threw the pin through is like, on his front porch. It's not giant. It's still a weird looking thing, but put bigger objects, the amount of power he needed, these things have got to be huge.
Yeah. So he's getting 120 volts from his house, and that's enough to power this one.
To throw a pin through. But to throw, like, when he starts throwing, like, baseballs and couches...
Needs more power.
Like, way more power. So I don't know, other people, whether or not DARPA and those types of people are already... Because if this kid can work this out in 95 in his back garden, I don't know if he was the first.
Wow.
The chances are small of him being the first, or maybe they're not, I don't know.
Sometimes
someone has to be the first.
Yeah, that's very
what
true.
If he's just a maverick genius that needs some kind of moulding, and now he's working at Area 51 or something.
Or maybe he's gone dark.
You know, and he's
working for DARPA.
You're throwing stuff through and it's coming out, and you've done that in your backyard. And we've got a laboratory that's been consuming billions of dollars for decades, and we can't do that. Come and work for us, my friend.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that though, would it? It'd just be walking along, and then there'd be the car stop. Some guys come out and put a hood over.
That too.
So a caller into Art Bell's show asked him about that. Have you had any interest from these people? And he's like, no, not a sausage. And
maybe they could do it already and didn't.
That's exactly what he said. He said, like, if I'm doing this, he said, what do you think? He said, I just think they're the ones who took all my notes and that to stop it going into the wrong hands. But he's like, I think they're probably looking at what I'm doing and thinking I'm nowhere near where I'm nothing to them, like, but I don't know. 21 years old.
Yeah. Student majoring in electricity. Electrical engineering, I'm guessing.
I'm majoring in I'm trying to do I can't do a redneck accent.
I heard you were majoring in... I lost it too.
Majoring in electricity.
There we go.
I got me a degree in electricity. I'm here to fix your wires. Oh, God.
Well, when compared to his friends, Marcum can be said to be quite intelligent. Apparently, he tried to build a time machine because he wanted to get the winning lottery numbers in the future.
Smart guy.
So he could build a bigger time machine.
Yeah.
Well, and be wealthy as fuck,
Yeah. However, he had one problem, and he needed a lot of power, a lot of electricity to make this work. You've got to upscale it, haven't you?
Apparently at first he thought he'd just created a portal. It hadn't really occurred to him that it's when he started thinking about why is it over there now? And he's like, oh shit, because time.
The Earth's moved.
Yeah.
So after a few tests, the CD laser caught on fire, and he figured if he was going to rebuild the machine again, he needs to use larger transformers. And his original plan was to buy them, but they're very expensive. Because they're handling like 20,000 volts a piece or something daft like that.
I think I read somewhere in one of the articles it would have been like 20 grand.
Yeah, something like that.
Or 30. A lot of money.
But at the local power station, there were 6 old transformers just sat there. So him and his mates went in broad daylight with a couple of pickup trucks and just robbed them. Loaded them into pickup trucks and just robbed them in broad fucking daylight.
Well, they're just sitting there.
They're not doing anything, they're just powering the town.
I don't think these were just spares.
Okay.
Kind of asking for it, innit, really?
They're £300 each, he sold 6 of them.
Jesus.
His original plan, while testing the experiments, he caused a mass blackout several blocks throughout his neighbourhood. And a few moments later, Gentry County Sheriff Eugene Lupfer arrested him with a warrant inside his house on January 29th, 1995 for stealing the Transformers. And he just basically said, why did you steal the Transformers? I wanted to build a time machine.
Yeah, he was honest. Now, there are some people, the skeptics of this story, say that he was trying to sort of plead insanity, make himself sound a bit... He wasn't really ever building a time machine. That's what he told the police. And he's had to stick with that ever since. That's what the skeptics say about it, that it's all... After this point, everything else is bullshit.
Right.
But something in my guts, I don't know.
Oh,
I want to believe.
The bad burrito you had.
I want to believe. It's such a good story.
It's that petrol station food you eat in the week.
No, I'm off that now. I make my own sandwiches.
Good.
Yeah.
So he did go to prison for this, didn't he?
Oh yeah, this bit up to this point all definitely happened. It was printed in the newspapers, which is how Art Bell discovered him.
I do like Coast to Coast.
I adore it. I love listening to the old ones. I love his voice.
Yeah. And he knew how to coax a story out of people.
Yeah.
He never ripped them apart.
No, judged them.
He never judged them.
He's
He
like,
was just like, tell me your story.
Get this story out, and then they pick holes in it and look through it. But I liked how he always was completely open-minded.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me your story.
Yeah.
I'll give you the airtime, and we'll talk about it. Is this possible? You know.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Absolutely.
love him. I loved his voice as well.
Yeah.
He was just perfect for that type of.
Yep.
You know. It's just cool shit, innit? All that weird shit. It's
Yeah.
just fucking cool.
And he knew about stuff as well.
Yes.
He was quite good with electricity and physics and things like that. So he kind of
That's why he got
he
into
understood
this.
it and put it across in a common way for people to listen
Yeah.
to him.
He was able to actually, because I listened to the interview, and they are talking about quite technical stuff that's completely over my head. Very technical stuff, actually. But Art Bell 100% understood it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's even just basics like I don't understand. I learnt the other day that amp is the amount of power, and the voltage is the force it's coming out with.
All right.
So that's I don't know any of that. I don't know even the basics of electric.
And ohms is the resistance to the current.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Well,
I know that when you look at a battery before you put it in, there's a positive and a negative end.
Yeah, you're right.
And if them switches go at the house, you just flick them back on.
Yeah.
I'd see it on the same.
I watched our electrician at work change a charging cable the other day. It was quite interesting. For me, I was like, wow. So you got to like cut a bit off and rethread it and all that. And that's quite cool.
Well, if the fuse goes in our kettle, guess what? New kettle.
Yeah.
I'll
So it
change
is
the
now.
fuse.
No, I'm joking.
There you go.
I have, for the sake of a 30p fuse, I'm going to take the plug apart.
Well, it's not even that nowadays. Sometimes there's a little catch. You just undo it and the fuse is sat there.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, I've seen them actually. It just folds out. Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
and you can
it's on
sort
like
of-
a little loading tray.
Pop it out, put a new one in.
In the 70s, they used to sell electrical goods without the plugs on.
Yeah, and you
got
put
to
your
know
own
how
on.
to
Yeah.
plug them, yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to teach me that in school.
Well, this is it. I went with my friend who's older than
taught
me.
me.
The one day we were at the market store and he's like, "Oh, we need a light in this extra bit." Right. He goes to Wilco's, buys the bit that the bulb goes in, buys the length of wire and a plug, strips it and stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, it's really impressive that you can do." And he's like, "Didn't you learn this at school?" I'm like, "Did I fuck?" And he's like, "This is like basic life skills, mate." And I was like, "Well, I ain't got 'em."
No, they tried to teach. They tried to teach us how to wire a plug, but I've never had to wire a plug ever in my life.
I mean, he was
Dad
in his.
taught me, that's how I know. But
He's in his late 50s and I'm 41, so school was definitely different for
Yeah.
him than us, like 20 years older than us. But yeah, he looked at me like I'd like two heads, like, what?
they don't teach us any life skills.
No.
You know, they taught you how to like do a budget and live
Yep.
month to month and
Yeah.
things like that.
That
you
would
know.
have been useful.
Learn about mortgages, learn about
Yeah.
all the things that you got to encounter when,
Yeah.
when you're an adult.
Yeah.
No,
Might be handy that, might
Yeah.
it? Teaching kids to
Bricklaying.
understand things
Yeah.
they might discover in later life.
But no, x plus y minus 2 equals z. What's that?
That should be option, shouldn't it, to go and do that?
Yeah.
Stick to the basics, and if you're proficient and you're interested, go and do the
Teach me
algebra.
how to cook.
Yeah.
I was
That would have
working-
been good,
I was
yeah.
volunteering at a food bank a few years ago, and people didn't know how to boil a spud.
Man,
How long to
Mad,
put them
innit?
in for?
till
They
it's
go
soft. Just keep poking it till it's how you want it.
Even I can do that.
Yeah, so they were like, oh, I don't know how to cook, can't take them. Like, it's just boiling a spud, man.
But there's no excuse. I mean, for
hell.
fuck's sake, YouTube.
Uh,
You can find out how to do anything on YouTube. I performed open heart surgery on a man last week using YouTube.
I'm guessing he died.
It's not the point, Mike. Didn't say I was very good at it. I learned how to do it. I need some practice.
oh dear.
Well, after 7 months in prison, Marcum was released and then he was invited to become a guest for Art Bell on Coast to Coast Radio.
Yeah.
He tells a story of the screw and his plans to build a time machine, and from now he vows that from now on he will do it legally. And he gets donors, man. Mm-hmm. People say some guy goes, "I've got a warehouse you can use." Some guy's like, "Oh, I'll give you some money, buy this, buy that." Someone's like, oh, we got Transformers you can have. He basically, before GoFundMe was a thing, I think crowdfunding was a thing.
Yeah, this was crowdfunding.
Yeah, and he never, to be fair to him, he never asked for it.
Yeah. Now, apparently, there were people there. So this where I said, Mike, you got to imagine people start turning up with equipment and money, and like they stay and help him. Apparently, there's people there. There's like a team of them.
Scientists were ringing up saying, look, your ideas, mate, they're not that far off. If you put 2 electromagnets on and have them spinning in opposite directions, that'll help things.
Was it a bit like that Danish guy with the submarine and...
Yeah, but without the murder and the snuff porn and...
stabbing of vaginas.
Yeah, there was none of that. But yeah, similar, people just chipping in.
Yeah.
You know, because I suppose if you understand this shit, it's interesting as fuck, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it, but I'm
neither do I.
in it.
And they're like, you know, people are like, God damn, this crazy kid. I've always thought maybe this was possible. This fucker went and did it.
Wasn't the thing when the police turned up and he got them Transformers working for a bit? He pushed his couch through.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Well, there was a rumour that he pushed his couch through and the cat was still on the couch, but on Art Bell he said that never ever happened.
No, the cat or the couch?
Cat.
The cat.
I'm not sure about the couch. But yes, so but everyone's sort of got a feeling, and I think even Art Bell says it to him in one of the things, like, you're not thinking of putting yourself through this, are you? You're like, oh no.
That's why he gets the Madman nickname from Art Bell gave him that.
Yeah, and he's like,
you'll be crisp.
Yeah, it's like, I really think you're gonna explode yourself, or like,
you madman,
like atomize yourself, like don't put yourself through it. And he's, oh no, sir. No.
Watchman was at this point. Maybe he thought he'd have become Dr. Manhattan. It's a risk you've got to take.
Yep.
You'd be tempted, wouldn't you?
A redneck hillbilly, fucking
Dr.
Dr. Manhattan. Y'all are fucked. I'm big now.
Look at my swinging dick.
God.
You think he'd be red instead of blue?
Yeah,
probably.
Well, with listeners' help and donations, his next Time Machine project was more powerful and ran much bigger than the previous one. While the original engine ran at a kilowatt rate, this time it was designed for 3 megawatts because he was going to test the machine on himself. Did he throw fucking hamsters through the smaller one?
I think some hamsters went through, and you know.
They all survived.
Yeah.
did they?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, he must have, otherwise he wouldn't have put himself through.
Yeah, well, that's very true. Yes.
The hamsters aren't
but
surviving.
When he describes how he felt after he threw himself through it, though, because I heard him go into detail on that.
Alright, you say that for a second then.
I will when we get to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how the hamsters will have felt when
No.
rematerialising.
No. So, also, Marcum installs a rotating magnetic field similar to the one the US military used in the Philadelphia experiment. He said that rotating magnetic fields are more effective and efficient.
And just think about that. The Philadelphia experiment is a huge government-funded operation, right?
Yeah.
With like a team of the best scientists.
Einstein.
Right? This is fucking Mad Mike Marcum in his back garden in Missouri. I gonna make me a time machine. Well, fuck.
Yeah, you're right.
Mad, isn't it? It is mad.
So you gotta be smart.
Look, we're looking at the sort of the basic plans here, and you know what? You know, it's quartz granite block.
Don't get any ideas, Ben. I know it looks simple.
Spark gap is magnetised, horseshoe magnets. He's wrote not to scale on it. I'm glad. I'm glad he's cleared that up. Output can reach into billions of volts based on the weight of the transducer, which is gronite.
Right.
30,000 cycles a minute. Copper plate, heat resistant flexible seal, and it's got some hardwood plywood on it as well.
Of course it has.
It's got a wooden finish.
There's a quartz granite block, and then there's some plywood on the top. Free energy and no moving parts.
Copyright Mike.
Outside copper plates, 1 to the 8th negative. An 1/8 of an inch negative. Oh, I love it.
Fantastic. Very dark brown.
It's incredibly dark brown.
It's a handwritten diagram, isn't it, for the listeners? His mad writing scrawled about all over the place.
So Art Bell had Mike Marcum as a guest again about a year later, and he claimed to be experimenting with a more sophisticated time machine. The electromagnetic vortex was big enough for a man to walk into.
But you're not going to walk into it, though, are you, Mike?
He's called Mike Madman Marcum. No. Of course he's going to walk into it.
Please, Mike, tell me you're not going to walk into it, are you? No.
The interview ended with Marcum claiming to be on the cusp of generating the desired amount of voltage to run the machine. When asked what he would take with him, he replied, just his cell phone. At the end of the show, Mike decided to give his address instead of his phone number. Anybody interested can search his house on Google Earth. But he did walk into it, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He certainly did.
And the problem is that he went missing for 2 years.
Yep. Like, literally missing. Art Bell could not find him. And
Nope.
bear in mind, he's the one who tracked him down in the first place. He was nowhere to be seen for 2 years.
Interesting.
Claims he woke up like 800 miles away and 2 hours later.
2 years
2
later.
years later, sorry.
But
2 years later.
for him, it was like that.
An instant.
His hair hadn't grown, his beard hadn't grown, his fingernails. But he has complete and totally no memory for the first. Like, he wakes up in this field. He can't even remember his own name. And he didn't take a wallet or identification or anything with him or anything like that. So he doesn't know who the fuck he is. Right, so he starts wandering towards, like, hoping he can find a town. Goes to a homeless shelter.
Gets food.
Gets some food. Just, things slowly, over months and months. He has to, like, get, like, part-time jobs and things. And over months, bits start coming back to him, and he's like, oh fuck yeah. And when he finally remembers, he goes back,
saves enough money, gets back, gets on the phone to Art Bell,
and rings Art Bell.
So during Marcum's second and last appearance on Bell's show in 1996, he said he was 30 days away from completing his quote legal time machine. And the crazy thing is, what if he did fucking go 2 years in the future? What if that did happen?
Well, as far as I understand it, from what I was watching and listening to, like, Einstein did say that theoretically time travel is possible. And I've seen, who's that famous scientist who's on programs who's like Chinese
Michio
or
Kaku.
Japanese?
Yes, he's great.
I've seen him talking about how, like, the theory of it all is all absolutely sound in terms of physics, so you could travel through time. Marcum was saying that it's not like in the movies. You move through time, but not through space. Like, so that's why he was 800 miles to the right or left or whatever, because the Earth had rotated that much.
Is the Earth spinning around at something like
3,000 miles an hour? Is it?
It's pretty fast. But then it's also flying through space at like 30,000 miles an hour, 66,000 miles an hour.
See, so some of the skeptics have said, why didn't you materialise in space?
Yeah.
But maybe it's something to do with being in a contained atmosphere of Earth, I don't know.
Because that's technically how a time machine should work, is that you will appear in the same space at a desired time in the future, or a time in the future. But if the Earth's not there, then all you're going to do is materialise in the hot and the cold vacuum of space. Your eyes bulge out, you freeze instantly, and then you're just a floating corpse.
And would you explode?
I don't think so. I think you freeze, wouldn't you? You just freeze.
Isn't it like in Red Dwarf where he takes his helmet off in space and his head explodes?
No, I think you freeze first.
That's what I always envisage. Like, just complete lack of atmosphere. I suppose what would make it explode? Maybe it would go... Maybe you'd go flat like a pancake.
I don't know. No spacesuit on, you'd probably implode, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would. You'd implode in no
your
spacesuit
blood would boil, wouldn't it? There's no atmosphere.
That's what I mean. There's no air, no nothing. There's no way of replicating that on Earth.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
What? Zero?
Vacuum.
like the vacuum of space. How do they do that?
There's everything at NASA. They can suck the air out of the room.
They can do
Is that the same as space though?
Not quite.
No, because there's gravity still, but
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so there's no forces. It's weird. It's just I can't picture what that would do to your body.
Depends if like you're in the, because isn't space like ridiculously hot in direct sunlight? But if you're on the other side of the planet, it's ridiculously cold.
Fuck knows. You know what blew my mind? What I heard yesterday that I've never thought of this. You know when you look at a cloud, it looks soft, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And nice. You know if you fall into one, you're absolutely fucked beyond all reason.
Really?
Some guy got stuck in one for he was in it for 4 hours, couldn't get, because you're being sucked and pushed and pressured and tumbled. There's loads of mad shit going on in there. Like, he felt nearly drown as well because of the water and he bled from the eyes, ears, nose and mouth. He survived. I think he was a parachuter. That was another thing that made it worse. His parachute went off in the cloud.
Oh.
So you think you'd fall through a cloud. In my head, you'd just go, whew.
Yeah, poof.
Straight through it like,
Well,
no! Sorry, so what would happen in space?
According to space.com, within a very short time, matter of 10 to 15 seconds, you'll become unconscious because of a lack of oxygen.
That's longer than I thought.
Yeah.
The oxygen starts expanding and rupturing your lungs, tearing them apart. That would cause your blood to boil.
Ooh.
And it would cause embolism and have a fatal impact on your body.
A fatal impact suggests like
So
imploding.
your blood would boil.
No. So,
Nice way to go, innit?
Right, so Marcum's second and last appearance on Bell's show in 1996, he said he was 30 days away from completing the legal time machine, and he vanished in 1997 and apparently hasn't been seen or heard from since, but we'll get into that shortly. After he disappeared, a listener called the Art Bell show to talk about a strange story that he had found. In the 1930s, police found a dead man on a beach in California. He was crushed to death in a strange metal tube. The man was unrecognisable, had no ID, and a mysterious device was found near his body. The caller said the device looked like a cell phone.
but this has, unfortunately, although it's a cool ending to the story, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If that was the end, that would be pretty like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's weird, because what had happened is...
Why did you take your phone with you?
Well, why the tube is significant, though, because they thought it was a barrel in the 30s. Unfortunately, this has been debunked, I should say, but where this comes from is he said on Art Bell to protect himself the next time he went through it, because the first time he just threw himself through it.
Yeah. Hit the ground.
Yeah. Next time he will build a Faraday cage in like a tube and go through it in this tube to protect it, maybe protect his memory. Because apparently we've got... I wish I'd have written this down, but... something in our brain to do with magnetic, which is why like putting a magnet. You see videos on YouTube, you can put certain types of magnets in certain places and it'll fuck up someone's ability to speak.
Wow.
And like,
Yeah, they used to do it. Experiments on people. They used to fire electrodes and stuff. And you see like the man who'd be like putting funny faces.
These are on corpses, though.
Yeah, did they?
Yeah.
So this way it frazzled his brain when he went through. But we should also say a big part of the story is so he wakes up 800 miles away. Takes him a long time for his memory to come back. He lives in a shelter. He takes some cash in hand work. His memory slowly comes back. So he finds his way back.
Gets to the warehouse.
Right. Also his house is somebody else is living in his house. All his stuff's gone. He's got no stuff. Goes to the warehouse. Everything's gone. Everything.
All his notes.
Yeah.
Everything.
And people asked him on the show, well, why didn't you try and find out? You could have gone and asked the owners of the warehouse. And he was like, I just didn't, I could barely remember who I was. I was like, I just had to rebuild my life. He's probably a bit, if it's real, if it's true, he's probably feeling a bit like, well, maybe that's a sign. The government came and took everything.
Yeah, I'm too close to something.
Yeah. And Art Bell said there's also a chance, maybe it wasn't the government, that people who just didn't know what this equipment was just scrapped it and...
Yeah, that's also
cleared it out and burnt your paperwork. Because apparently Mikey had videos, documentation. We don't know what happened to the people that were helping him.
No.
Were they
good point.
double tapped? None of them have contacted.
Were they agents in the first place?
That's a good take. I didn't think of that.
You know, how many undercover agents does the FBI have in certain things?
Encouraging him to go through, and then once he goes through, like, we're taking all this stuff away.
Yeah. Well, that was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see him again.
Meanwhile, he's 800 miles away in a field going, what the fuck? What's my name?
Who am I? Where am I? Why have I got an erection?
Why are my trousers burnt? So, yeah, and I mean, I want to believe it so much, but one of the things that gets me is that people are saying he should have because of the movement of the planet itself. If it really did happen, wouldn't he have just materialised in space?
Well, not if you went at the exact time and day.
You could
Takes
figure it out.
365 days to spin round. If you go the exact time and day as we are now, you go one year in the past or the future, you will be in the same place.
I think that's how he shot off 800 miles. It was only 800 miles. It's a fairly near miss.
You know where the Earth's going to be.
Yeah.
If you went this time, but say 20 minutes earlier, you'd probably be in China or something.
Yeah.
If you went 40 minutes earlier, you'd be in space.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
But 800 miles is a fairly near miss in all fairness.
Yeah, it could be literally just a couple of seconds, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like
What's the Earth travelling at?
66,000 miles an hour in space.
Because it's not like the DeLorean where he's programming in the fucking coordinates.
6,000 miles
An hour, something ridiculous like that, yeah.
So what's the
If he went 2 years
12
and he only ended up a bit that way or a bit that way, that's not...
It's 10,000 miles to Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, ish. 12 maybe.
But that's down, isn't it?
You got to be on the same line as you are.
We're in the middle. We're in the middle of the maps.
Because you're going to be on that same line, aren't you?
My brain's melting.
So let's say we had a time machine in this flat.
Right.
Yep.
And we went, right, set it off, and then we wake up 2 years later. We come to 2 years later in exactly the same position. Then we know that we planned it so the Earth would be in this exact position when we come in 2 years later.
Yeah. If he's 800 miles...
If he's 800 miles out, he's made a bit of a fuck up on his calculation.
Only by a few seconds.
But that's it. It's literally a very near miss. 800 miles is nothing compared to what it could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been in space.
Or the ocean.
Or the ocean.
Yeah.
The middle of the Atlantic or wherever.
Yeah. The bottom of it.
The bottom of it, yeah.
So
whatever depth you are, and if let's say Idaho is below sea level,
yeah,
and he appeared in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, he'd be that far down.
Yeah. So I really do want to believe this story because
So do I.
What I like about it, compared to most urban myths and stuff and legend, is we know for a fact he was arrested for stealing Transformers, and the reason he gave was that he wanted to build a time machine. We know that Art Bell then hunted him down, got him on the show, and he explained the science correctly. Art Bell, whether we can trust him, I don't know, but he claims to have known for a fact that the warehouse and the equipment and the helpers and the donations were real.
Because they did it on air, didn't they?
Yeah.
People rang up while Madman Mike was on air, and were like, "Yeah, I can give you that." Yeah.
Doesn't mean they did though, does it?
But he claims to know for a fact that the warehouse and the stuff was there, right? We know he went missing for 2 years and no one could find him.
Yeah.
And then he rang in again and he did sound a bit like his brain may have been fried a little bit, whether that was through drug use or time machine.
Are you suggesting he spent 2 years off as a meth head?
Quite possibly.
Did he call back in after he'd done the...
Yeah, the 2 years, because he explained, he told Art Bell the whole story of waking up in the field, and people were asking, well, had your hair grown? Did you have stubble, like with your fingernails? No, it was, for me, it was like instantaneous.
It's alright, because it said in this article that his second and last appearance was in 1996 when he said he was 30 days away from completing his time machine.
Yes, and then he stepped through it.
That's not true.
Yeah. No, it's true, but they've got because there's the first interview where Art Bell rings him.
Yeah, that's his...
And then he makes the machine, steps through it, and he definitely, because I listened to the whole thing on YouTube, he definitely calls in after he's been missing for 2 years.
Yes, he does, yeah.
So he does make 3 calls then, does he?
Yeah, and yes, because it was a 3-hour YouTube video, and no one's heard from him for about 18 years. And then, but someone claims on Reddit. Was it Reddit, Ben?
Reddit,
to be him.
The username, real Madman Marcum.
Because that always means it's legit, isn't it? Yeah. That's
Mike
what I'm laughing.
appeared to post on a blog about paranormal activities in February, and the user has been a member of the site since 2015. He wrote, "Rumours are ablazing that I am dead. Not well, and I travelled to 1930, something where I died on a beach in a tube." Whoever posted those pictures of a redhead, that is also not me.
It's a shit way to die, though, isn't it?
It is crushed to death in a tube. It was some school kid with my name that someone long attributed to me. Whoever was found in the 30s was not me, and I've read that was debunked but can't find the article. When someone asked whether he had any new time machine plans in motion, he replied, "Yes, but it is stored at the moment until I can get some inverters."
Does that mean investors?
Possibly.
No, I think it's an electrical thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have some 24-volt panels in my bus for a project. They got a little ratty from sitting outside. They have asked him to prove he's a real Mike Madman, but he's offered no evidence of his true identity. So, is it him? Is it someone trolling for a laugh?
It's someone trolling because he says that picture isn't me. It was attributed to me, that ginger person. But it's like, no, that's the police picture, the first one, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
It's literally from his arrest. It was published. There was newspaper because the whole town he'd caused several blackouts in the town. And they were pretty pissed off with him. And apparently his neighbours had been reporting just weird electrical shit for a long time coming from his house because he's just doing mad shit with just building a Jacob's ladder in the first place.
Yeah.
What are you doing that for?
On your porch.
Yeah.
And you can't
Imagine seeing a young 21-year-old. God damn it, Marjorie, that kid's at it again, and it's just...
Yeah, there's
fucking hell, he's going to burn us all to the ground.
Test coils going off or something. He fries a cat.
Oh, no. So, Mad Mike, I want to believe, but where do you think he is now then? What do you think happened to him? Let's say it's real.
Well...
Mental hospital?
Well...
I was going to say meth.
He's a meth addict on the streets.
Possibly.
Because someone took all his life's work, didn't they? And lost his home.
Yeah,
and...
that's it. I think he took a nosedive.
It'd be ironic though if he wasn't a mental hospital, Mad Mike.
Or your other option, the brighter, sunnier, fluffier option I prefer, is that he's now working for DARPA.
Or did his blood boil in space?
Oh, that's the other thing. But not if Reddit's to be believed.
No, I don't believe that Reddit.
Well, on his last appearance on Art Bell, he did say, well, would you... This is after he, lost his memory and all that. He's like, would you do it again? He's like, well, yeah. But it's money and equipment. And because it was all these years later, people actually did say, well, what was the first crowdfunder thing? GoFundMe.
GoFundMe, yeah.
Before Kickstarter. Yeah, they were on about... People rang in and said, you should do a GoFundMe, mate. But he sounded a bit... To be honest, in the later interview, this is where I think maybe he went... a little bit on the... He sounded a bit like... Whereas in the first one, he's like explaining how everything works and...
Do you think his brain was fried a bit?
Yeah, and I think maybe drugs.
There's some drugs involved.
And plus, listeners kept asking him, like, why was no one looking for you? Why is there no missing persons report? And he was, like, shy about it and, like, evasive. And I'm thinking, maybe there was no one to make one.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't want to admit, like...
Which ties into the theory that all those people watching were, in fact, CIA, FBI, Homeland Security people who were curious to see what had happened. And once he's gone through that thing, hey, he's not their problem anymore.
Yeah.
Take all that shit. Hey, he was never here, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're on about?
Quite possible.
Nobody searched the death records.
No, just a missing persons.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
That might be an idea. I don't know how to do it, but... If you're out there, Missouri area, I can't remember what town it was, but it did say, if you rewind listening.
You'd have state records, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get a death certificate, you've got to have been, died in the doctor present, haven't you?
Not if
a doctor finds your body. Or someone finds your body.
Or if someone finds your body.
Yeah. But not if you die in the vacuum of space.
No one's...
Or at the bottom of the ocean, or in China.
Yeah. Middle of Everest.
Materialise in the middle of the Chinese state government annual meeting. You got the 12 top blokes from the table who disappear in the corner, naked.
Excuse me, what's my name?
Where am I? What's my name? Why am I naked?
Oh
And
God.
you're gunned down by Chinese security
Well, they used to be
guards.
sent to a gulag.
Or
For
sent to a gulag. But there's no Bruce Wayne in that one.
Oh, if you're out there, Mad Mike,
Get in touch.
give us a sign.
Get in touch. Send us a message.
Or maybe he's fucking 27 years into the future or something daft.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? We don't know, do we? So
It could be a million years into the future.
I like to think he's out there.
Could be sat alone on a boiled rock.
I hope he didn't meet a horrible demise. He didn't deserve it. He was an entrepreneuring, you know.
He's a madman in a shed, and as British people, where most of the best inventions anyone's ever come up with in Britain have been done in a shed.
We like mad inventors.
We love mad inventors.
It's just
yeah.
the American ones usually end up dead, don't they? Like
Yeah.
that Rocket Man and
He was Mad Mike as well, wasn't he?
was it?
Yeah. He was.
He was a redneck as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah. With his steam-powered rocket.
Wasn't he trying to prove the Earth was flat?
Yeah.
That's right. The last thing he would have seen was the curvature of the earth and thought, fuck, I've made a horrible mistake here.
Well, god dang.
Well, going to his death knowing the truth, I guess.
Well, I think this is an awesome story,
Yep.
and I think it should
I've
be
never
made
heard of it before, I must admit.
should be made into a comedy movie.
Yeah.
So we've got to write this one, and we've got to write Voyage of the Damned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Some
stuff.
busy times ahead, lads.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end then.
Yeah, man.
I do hope he made it, though.
Yeah.
I hope it's true. I do hope it's true.
That's heavy.
Mike,
Great Scott.
Of course, I hope it's true, but I'm very sceptical.
you on that fence again, are you?
I'm on the fence, of course, but
Getting splinters.
I'm very, very, very sceptical of it.
Alright. Well, I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. Do as thou wilt. And remember your star.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.
I've been Gaz. Free Biff Tannen. Goodbye.